Okay, so for December, our reading, I've got 6 positions. I'm going to be reading with the New Chapter Tarot. So that this is the box to it. It's by Catherine Briggs, um, and it's a lovely tarot. It's very different. I believe it's based on the Thoth, although it obviously has its own personality as well. And we have 6 positions. So 2 kind of pairs and then 2 other things as well. So the first is darkness and light. So because this is a very specific seasonal reading for the month of December, I'm going on what that seasonality is to where I am, because obviously, again, we're all in different parts of the world. We experience December differently. So I'll talk you through where I am. I live in North Yorkshire, which is in the north of England, and so at the moment it's a very dark. The sun goes down about 3:30 in the afternoon. So um, shortly after this reading finishes, it'll be dark here, and it comes up again about sort of 8, half 8 in the morning. And meanwhile, in the daytime, um, we just have a lot of cloud. So although the sun is technically up, we don't see the sun for it can be several months at this time of year. So we have this time of darkness. Now, I love darkness for many different reasons. So I love darkness because I associate it with stillness and quietness and deepness, and sometimes we can. Um, it's kind of the opposite of being overstimulated. I don't think understimulated is the right word, but it creates a sort of quietness, stillness, darkness to go into kind of depth when we are doing our personal work and our spiritual work. And it's also a lovely time of year because in this time of darkness, what we humans tend to do is that we celebrate with light. So there are lots of different festivals that are celebrated this time of year, and they're often light festivals. So you get to see lights. Out in the streets, you get to see people decorating their homes. It feels nice. If for anyone fortunate enough to have shelter and some warmth and light in that shelter, to just be inside and in this kind of little haven of light and warmth in the darkness. So the pairing with the position of darkness is light. So the position of darkness is kind of the what contains us, what allows us to kind of go deep, and then the position of light is, what are the little ways that we make our own magic in that, and how do we create light in darkness? So we've got this kind of almost dichotomy going on, and that's again with the second 2 positions, a sort of 2 things being present in the same time, in the same space. So we have hibernation and dormancy, and then celebration and socialization. So again, where I am, I know this may not be the same for everyone, but it may be for a lot of people. We're in this season of winter. So lots of things are in hibernation. I think even we humans go into a kind of semi-hibernation mode around this time of year. I know I kind of feel it in my body that with a lot of darkness, I want a lot of sleep as well, and I believe that's not an unusual response. And some things kind of go dormant. So if you go out into the woods, you will see the trees are still there, but there might not be a lot of leaves or buds, flowers, fruit, what have you. There are some fruits around still, but there's going to be a lot of dormancy going on. So there's this kind of invitation this month to stillness, to what can be hibernated, what can be left to be dormant. And then at the same time, we have this kind of other side of celebration and socialization. So as I mentioned with the position of light, you know, there are a lot of festivals, a lot of different celebrations this time of year. This month, my family and I will be celebrating Yule, which we celebrate as a secular holiday. And I know there are lots of different traditions and celebrations that do go on this time of year. And so that can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of movement, a lot of action. It can be a lot of social stuff to negotiate. You might be spending time with groups, whether that's family groups, other groups. So we have this kind of stillness and dormancy of hibernation, and then we have this action and movement of celebration and socialization kind of going on at the same time. So we've got darkness, light, hibernation and dormancy, and celebration and socialization. And then here at the top, the position, very powerful position for this month is rebirth. So here in the northern hemisphere, the nights do continue getting longer and darker until around about the 21st of December, when we have the solstice and when the sun is reborn. So soon after that, the days start to get longer again. The sun is reborn. It's definitely not at its full adulthood or even infancy yet, so that's why we call it a rebirth. But it's a change. It's a big change. It's a change of direction. It's a change of energy, and that's coming up this month that we actually have a rebirth going on for all of us, for everybody, sort of cosmically, and especially to do with the sun. And then finally, this position here is gifts, and I had to put some gifts in because it's a nice time of year for exchanging gifts, isn't it? So why not allow ourselves to receive some gifts from the universe if that's something that the universe would like to send our way. So that's our spread, and we'll go ahead and pull some cards, but first I'll invite you to take a nice deep breath and just go inside and ask to receive what you need from this reading. So our first position is darkness. So this is kind of the time of year, what holds us, what allows us to go in. Sometimes what we have to kind of weather as well, you know. So sometimes the darkness feels nice because you can get that depth, but sometimes it just feels not so great as well. And what we have here is the Four of Discs. And I love that this has come up because it kind of speaks to this theme of hibernation. You see that what we have here is a kind of dark half underneath of the card and then a lighter half above, and the four discs are equally spread between that darkness and light. And we've actually got four spears in there as well, which is fun because they often are associated with the suit of wands, and the Four of Wands is, of course, a card of celebration. So it's a nice reminder that we can have that in the darkness. And there's a crown up here as well. So how I'm going to read this in a position of darkness. So the Four of Discs or Four of Pentacles can often be about safety and security. So I'm thinking comfort zone. So again, it's a very nice card for the season, for this, what I was talking about before, you know, when it's a bit cold and dark out. It makes you really appreciate when you have a safe haven, when you have shelter and warmth and light. And so possibly this is a reminder that in the darkness of this month, some of which will be invitational and some of which we'll just have to get through because that's how it is. it is okay to return to our comfort zones when that is appropriate. And I think an invitation to be safe as well. So there are things in the dark that we perhaps don't want to come face to face with or to confront. And this is a reminder that it's okay to create boundaries around ourselves that do keep us safe, that keep us protected. And so I think really that with it being discs, the suit of earth, the material, that is a kind of physical safety. So definite, like deep appreciation for hearth and home, if you have it, and I really truly hope that everybody watching this does. And also a kind of psychological safety. So we are all capable of doing the very deep work. We have to be in a place of safety before we can get into that. So creating safety first, and then exploring the darkness from there is the invitation. And then so for the light, which is of course paired with darkness, we have, it's a Wands card, fire, perfect for the light, the Two of Wands. And you can see here the flame above the spear, and there's two eyes on either side, so it's almost as if the flame is in the position of the third eye. There's a flower blooming beneath it, and then two wands pointing off in two directions, creating an opening through which we're seeing this face and this flame and this fire. And I really like that we got a Wands card for the light, because the Wands is a suit of fire. So, when we light a candle, when we put up twinkling lights, when we light the hearth fire, or, put our heating on, whatever it is, we are connecting with that fire energy. We are connecting with that Wands energy, and that is the energy that we're kind of inviting in. And it is a reminder, I think, that we can do that. So, we create a space of safety and comfort for ourselves, and then we can get intentional and invite in the blessings of the light. So it's just a reminder that we can be intentional, and that kind of opening up of space of the Two of Wands is a magical act. So I think perhaps this is even a reminder that creating our light in the darkness is an intentional act. So perhaps for this month, every time you switch on a light, or you're heating, or light a candle, or the stove, if you're cooking, even the microwave, the kettle, whatever it is, perhaps bringing in that intention that you are opening up a space for light to shine through in the way that is best for you. And so it's an opening, it's a possibility. And I love this kind of that we had pentacles come up for darkness and wands for light. I do like this balance of the suits. There is something very magical about it. So creating, containing space for yourself, for your practice, for everything that's going on this month, and then being intentional about the way you do things, and that can be the little things as well. Our next position then is hibernation or dormancy. So this is what perhaps what needs to be dormant at this time, or what is going dormant at this time, whether we like it or not. And we have a swords card, and it's the Nine of Swords. I really love that in this position. So we've got a person kind of robed in white and wearing a crown. It's kind of ribbon, gauzy ribbon flowing through the air around them, and 9 swords flying through the air around them. And the Nine of Swords is often about when our thoughts get in the way. So this can be about overthinking. It can be about the kind of narratives we tell ourselves. It's often about worry, stress. The Nine of Swords, if you think of, what are the things that keep you up at night? Or what are the thoughts that only come when you're tired, when you're sort of up in the middle of the night? Basically, when you're sort of at your most vulnerable. The swords is the suit of mental energy. These kinds of thoughts, and that can be like ruminating on one thing again and again and again, can be catastrophizing, can be worry, can be regret, can be shame, all of these kinds of things. But it's come up in this position of dormancy and hibernation. And so this is a really clear, simple message from the cards. Put those thoughts to bed for now. Let them go. Coming back to this message of intention, when we catch ourselves having those thoughts, those thought patterns, they can be belief patterns, they can be deeply ingrained. It's not always easy to let go of them, and it's not always easy to recognize them. But when we do recognize them, if we just bring ourselves back to that place of intention, think perhaps, what flame would I like to light in this space instead? You might even imagine a flame kind of burning those thoughts away. We have the opportunity to kind of put those thoughts down a little, like a formal mindfulness practice, or an informal moment-to-moment mindfulness practice. This is something that takes intention and a bit of work, so it's not that it's easy to put all those kind of belief patterns and so on down necessarily, but it is that we need to keep coming back and training ourselves in that mental habit of not rising to those thoughts. Next position then is celebration and socialization. So, what is your celebratory and social life going to be like for this month, and what do you need to know, and what energies might you want to bring or invite in? And we have the Ace of Discs. So this has come up. We've got the Four of Discs over here and the Ace of Discs here. So it's almost like those discs, those pentacles, are earth energy, which is very solid, comforting energy. It is also the energy of this time of year. Wants to be with us and wants to be holding us. And the image on this card is a disc in the center with three triangles kind of coming out behind it. They might be part of one larger triangle, and the image is split into three, and there's a spiral going outwards through the three with lots of different colors. So in this position of socialization and celebration, again with those pentacles, there is just that invitation to tend to your physiological needs first. So to be aware of making sure you're comfortable. Again, making sure you have that sort of safe or comfortable space available to you. So whether that means choosing how you celebrate and socialize and where you celebrate and socialize, making sure that you always do have some safety in there. And it can make a big difference when we're in big groups and there's a lot going on, to know that you have a point of safety, whether that is sort of within yourself or your surroundings. So there's something in there about safety and security. Aces are, of course, all about opportunity. They're the first card in each suit, and the Ace of Pentacles is about opportunity in the material world, so health and wealth, relationship with earth, relationship with place. All of these things are represented by pentacles. So there may be opportunities for something new to come into being in this realm of Pentacles for you this month, especially with two of the four cards so far having come up as Pentacles. So there's an invitation perhaps to invite in that Pentacle energy, and that might be something that you choose to meditate with. The thing I would say about aces as well is they do represent opportunity. They represent things that are coming to us. So there may be some material gifts coming in some way or another. They also represent potential. So you have to recognize this potential and do something with it. It's not something that's going to grow on its own. It's imagine it as a seed that you're planting. It might grow on its own. Some of them do, but some of them need you to make sure they've got the correct amount of water, the correct amount of light, that you're speaking to. I don't know if any of you talk to your plants. I do. I give them Reiki. All this kind of tending that must go on. So it's a reminder that we also need to tend to perhaps our social lives and sort of celebrations that are going on, and perhaps they don't happen on their own. There is some tending needed, and perhaps if we tend to each other as well, make sure everybody's needs are met, then that is something that we can do. I'm reminded, so this week I am releasing a new course, Tarot for Growth and Abundance, and the final lesson in that is a reading based on Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a very old psychological framework. And at the bottom of that hierarchy is physiological needs. Do we have that? Food and shelter and immediate safety, all of those kinds of things. So there's something here about how we tend to ourselves and to each other in that space of celebration and socialization. And for many, it's a time of year where we perhaps are reminded to be more generous with our time and our resources. So the next position that we have is rebirth. So there's going to be rebirth happening this month. Not quite straight into the month, but around about the 21st, about 3 weeks in. And so what opportunities for rebirth do we have? What rebirth is with us now? And we have the cups, and there you go. I think we've got all four minor arcana suits there now. 9 of Cups. Look at this. So here we have a person. They're wearing a series of robes. They have a couple of kind of orbs around them, as if they're seated in a circle. They're wearing 1 cup on their head, as if it's a crown. Some leaves coming out from their head as well. And another 3 and another 5 cups above that, with this kind of purple energy flowing from that cup that's coming out of there, almost from their crown chakra. And it's a lovely rebirth card for us to get. I do like this reading so far. Because the 9 of Cups is about plenty. So, I was talking before about how we tend to ourselves and to each other. And I always think of the person in the 9 of Cups as, like the cups is about the heart, emotions, and the element of water. But there's always someone on their own depicted in this card, but they have 9 cups, and those cups are obviously precious to them. The way they're depicted in this card, kind of coming out of the crown chakra, as if they are as if they are sacred, is really lovely. But what I always get the impression of with the 9 of Cups is although there's only one person in the card, they're always ready for a friend or 8 to drop round And if they do, they will be able to offer them a cup. So this is about how we share our sort of love and attention and kindness, loving kindness, all of those kinds of things. So in the midst of this month of December, which can feel very like there are kind of two things going on at once, almost kind of like we're stuck between two poles, between this darkness and this light, this hibernation and this celebration and socialization. What we actually have an opportunity for rebirth of is this coming from the heart, having plenty of the heart, having sharing from the heart. And also I think one of the reasons this person can share from the heart is because, you know, when those friends or friend or eight drop round for a cup, they might also be able to fill the cup as well. So, you know, this liquid, this energy in the cups is not stationary, it's fluid, it's moving. So we've got moving energy, and particularly energy moving through the heart, emotional energy moving through, love energy, all the different types of love moving through, compassionate energy moving through. And so we have an invitation for a rebirth of compassion. And I know a lot of people in this community are extremely compassionate. And this is just going to be a month where there is a little bit of space for you to drop back in, to create a container for yourself with intention, to drop back in to that reminder, those values, that compassion, which is so important to you. And our final card then is gifts. So what gifts are coming our way this month? Just remember, you're open to receiving what you need. So am I. And we've got the Seven of Wands. So again, wands, that fire energy. This is about passion, inspiration, creativity, energy. Associate the wands with energy work. And this is a hand holding up 7 wands in a kind of gesture of power. It's a powerful card. And it speaks to, in fact, if I just place that there, the main wand in that will be pointing up to that 2 of Wands that came up earlier in that position of light. And so it's a reminder that we have the ability to direct our own energy. And we have the gift of being able to direct our own energy. And so we can direct that wherever we want. And this one's saying direct it with intention. So again, making those, I think there's a lot in here. This is all minor arcana cards. Sometimes we get all majors, more often we get a blend of the two. So I think there's a real message in this reading about making the little moments count in whatever you're doing, being intentional, recognizing the magic in the everyday. I often see in this spiritual world, you know, people looking for some greatness outside us or above us or in some other plane. But the world that we live in is really a very magical place. And it's full of miracles. Every moment that every one of us spends is a miracle. So I think this reading overall is reminding us to tend to those little miracles and to recognize them and to invite them in, and to direct our energy in a way that is powerful. So this gift is saying that you already do have this capability. I see this as a card of capability. Sometimes it can mean that there's a lot going on. And I know for a lot of people in December, there can be a lot going on. It's a month that it's, you know, it's sort of quiet and frantic at the same time. But the Seven of Wands always says, yes, there's a lot going on, but you do, it's like it's within your capabilities to handle it all. And this is just a reminder to direct your energy with intention. And so in this position of gifts, this is that reminder that you already have that gift of directing your energy intentionally. So you might want to play with energy work or return to energy work this month as well, just to kind of keep yourself centered and keep yourself in that position where you actually can be responsible for your own energy and direct your energy in the ways that are intentional, that are meaningful, and that are impactful. So I'll summarize that very quickly. So first two positions were darkness and light, and we had the Four of Discs and the Two of Wands. And so this is a reminder that we should and can absolutely appreciate our safe spaces, comfort zones, and that it's a wonderful time to create those comfort zones from which we are then safe to go out and explore, and that we can be intentional with everything, and that light in the darkness is always available to us. And you know how we direct our energy, it is mindfulness, intention are written through this reading. The second pair, which is hibernation or dormancy, and celebration and socialization, and we had the Nine of Swords for hibernation and dormancy, and the Ace of Discs for celebration and socialization. And so for that hibernation and dormancy, we have an invitation to put the unhelpful thoughts and beliefs and patterns, put them down, just let them hibernate for a bit. If they're all that important, then they'll come back up again when they're ready, but just leave them, put them to bed for now. That of course is easier said than done, but can be done with intentional practice, and so mindfulness is always really useful for that. And sometimes as well, articulating, if we've been carrying things around in our heads for a long time and they've never come out of our mouths or come out on paper, that little bit of there is magic in the actual articulating, whether that's journaling, talking to a friend, therapist, whoever. That is one tool, one way that we can put those kind of nine swords down. And then for celebration and socialization, Ace of Discs, so possibility. Again, when we come from a place of having created security for ourselves, be that material or psychological security, then we're in a great position to participate in celebration and socialization, and to plant seeds. And we're about to go into a new year. It's coming very soon, and it's going to be the year of the Wheel of Fortune. There's going to be a lot of kind of change going on. So now is a really nice time, perhaps in the darkness, in the dormant energy, to plant seeds. And this is an opportunity that's coming to us through our socialization and celebration. Rebirth, we had the Nine of Cups. So if you have been in a place where you haven't felt that your cups are full, that you have enough cups to share, or that your cups are being shared with you, that energy is going to change this month. And suddenly we have an abundance of cups of that energy. So really a reminder to have faith and keep that connection with your own heart and your own compassion. And with all the love that's in the world. I know we don't always see all the love in the world in the headlines, but it is there. And that, there is compassion, there is kindness in the world. And so we may be reminded of that if we've not had that perspective for a while. If things have felt a little dark, then this kind of hope is coming back. And then finally, the position of gifts was the Seven of Wands. So This is about having our own power, the power to direct our energy and the capability of handling anything that's thrown at us. And with the wands, there's an invitation to energy work, and with the whole reading, there is an invitation to seeing the magic in the everyday. The deck I used was the New Chapter Tarot by Catherine Briggs. Just tried to get a good focus on there. I might have to hide behind the box. And that's our reading for December. Thank you very much for joining me.